Hey guys, how's it going? Today I'm going to be talking about sequels and my thoughts on them. If you like the video, consider subscribing, leave your own thoughts in the comments below, and let's get into it. So there are really three main issues that happen when sequels come out and they're not quite as good. The first one is going to be being overly ambitious or overpromising. A couple of examples of this might be Sports Story or like the Skywalker Saga. The prequel to Sports Story is Golf Story, which is just this nice little golf adventure game, which was a ton of fun. The writing was hilarious, I loved it. But then Sports Story tried to involve a ton of other sports, and it wanted to add a lot more areas as well. The issue is they tried to add so much that a lot of it just felt kinda mid. Like in Golf Story, they spent all their time working on the golf, and it was great. But in Sports Story, they had so many different sports to dive into that more than half of them feel bad to play. Then there's the Skywalker Saga. They wanted to make LEGO Star Wars the complete saga, but a little bit more adult, add some more features like skill trees and all this other stuff, but a lot of it felt unnecessary and made it too complicated, or it just added too much fluff to where it didn't feel great to play. In both of these examples, I think they tried to add a lot of stuff that just was too much for them to handle in the limited amount of time that they were given. And that leads into my second problem, which is a lot of the times the devs are given harsh release dates and a game needs to be out by a certain time, or else they're just going to automatically release it. They have no choice. And so releasing a game before it's finished can really be bad for a game. Going back to the Sports Story example, there were a lot of bugs on launch. There was a lot of issues that I personally had. Not to mention all of the, big budget AAA games like Cyberpunk 2077 that come out, and they can be a complete disaster because the devs aren't given enough time to actually finish their game. Now those are the main two issues that can cause a sequel to crash, but the third less major reason that sequels can fail is that the games aren't changing enough between each entry. A good example of this are the Pokemon games. A lot of recent Pokemon games didn't look like they changed enough for me. The story seemed the exact same. The mechanics of catching Pokemon are the exact same except for Arceus, which is why I loved it. And on top of that, visuals and graphics keep getting worse in those games. So there's really no reason for me to jump into it because it's just a worse version of a game I've already played. And so playing essentially the same game I've already played before, but without any new mechanics, makes it pretty boring for me. There are games that have managed to figure out how to change it up a little bit. The first Octopath game was great, the battle system was amazing, and then in the second one they added one or two mechanics to it, which just brought it up a new level and changed up the battles a lot. On top of that, they made some more interconnected stories so the characters interact with each other more. And just adding a couple of things is often all you need. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom managed to navigate this pretty well by taking out all of the abilities that you used to have and adding new ones. This makes you play the game completely different from the old one without changing too much. Still having a lot of the same mechanics, but changing up enough to where it feels completely different to play. But anyways, those are my thoughts on sequels. Thank you guys so much for listening. Subscribe if you want to. Be good people, and I hope you have a fantastic day.